Snakes have some of the weirdest tongues in the animal kingdom, but they serve a vital purpose that goes beyond just tasting. To make up for their poor eyesight and hearing, snakes use their tongues to pick up the scent of nearby prey or predators. That's why it's constantly out of its mouth flicking up and down. When a snake flicks its tongue, it collects tiny particles floating through the air. Then these particles are analyzed by something called the Jacobson's organ. This organ makes sense of the molecules found by the tongue and sends messages to the reptile's brain, which interprets the information as a smell. Some lizards also use their tongue to smell using Jacobson's organ, including chameleons and iguanas. Polar bears have black skin so they can better absorb energy from the sun. And while it may look white, their fur is actually clear to allow the sunlight to reach the skin. There's a species of jellyfish that's immortal. These floating creatures can hit a reset button if they get injured and revert back to an earlier developmental stage. Say it was bitten by a fish. The jelly could transform back into a polyp, which would then develop to spawn new jellyfish that are genetically similar to the injured adult. A blue whale's tongue can weigh as much as an adult elephant at over 5,000 pounds, while its heart weighs around as much as a regular car. A shrimp's heart is located in its head, and they also have an open circulatory system. This means they have no blood vessels and their organs float inside their bodies. Snails can sleep for as long as 3 years. They need constant moisture to survive, so if the weather is too dry, a snail can go into a state of hibernation. During this time, the snail will secrete mucus over its body to protect itself from the heat. That's right, snail sunscreen. It takes a sloth a whopping 2 weeks to digest just one meal, making it the slowest digestion time of any mammal. Think you know the name of this bird? Think again, as only the males are called peacocks. The correct term for the females is a peahen, while peafowl is the broader term used to describe the species. Fleas can jump up to 200 times their body height. To put that in perspective, it's around the same as an average human jumping over 2 Empire State Buildings stacked on top of each other. Oysters can change their own gender multiple times. Most start off as males, but many switch genders as they grow. This is probably to make sure there's an even distribution of males and females to aid reproduction and support a constantly growing oyster population. A group of parrots is called a pandemonium. This translates as an uproar or loud noise, which is exactly what a group of parrots would produce. Gentoo penguins use a pebble in the same way as us humans use an engagement ring. The male searches for the perfect pebble and places it at their lover's feet. If she says yes, she takes the pebble to her nest and accepts the penguin as her mate. Dolphins always sleep with one eye open and never fully asleep. This is because their breathing isn't automatic, as they need to keep visiting the surface of the water for air. If they slept, they'd just drown. To get around this, they only allow half of their brains to go to sleep at a time, so they're never fully unconscious. Honeybees have 2 stomachs. One stomach is for eating, while the other is dedicated to storing the nectar they collect from flowers so that they can carry it back to their hive. A dog's sense of smell can be up to 100,000 times stronger than humans, but their sense of taste is around 6 times worse than ours, which makes sense when you see what dogs eat sometimes. Reindeer's eyes change color depending on the season. In summer, when the days are longer and lighter, they're brown. But in winter, when it's darker and days are shorter, their eyes turn blue. The blue hue helps them to see in the dark and prevent pressure from building up within the eye. It's caused by the pupils being dilated for so long in the dark winter months. Seeing in the dark is especially useful when pulling Santa's sleigh on Christmas Eve. Even though they don't have their own language, young goats pick up accents from each other, which changes the sound of their bleat. I don't have an accent.
Oh, yes you do.
Otters have been found to hold hands when they sleep, so that they don't float away from each other. They also often tangle themselves in kelp or seaweed for the same reason, but that's less cute. The loudest animal in the world is only an inch long. The pistol shrimp can snap its claws so quickly that it creates a bubble, which bursts and produces a sonic blast. The blast is louder than the sonic boom made by a Concorde airplane. For every person on the planet, there are 1.4 billion insects. While this seems gross, they're necessary to feed us, process our waste, and keep the planet healthy. Roosters stop themselves from going deaf when they crow by tilting their heads back. This covers their ear canal and basically acts as a built-in earplug. Their early morning cock-a-doodle-doos produce around as much sound as running a chainsaw every single morning. Just like humans suckle on their thumbs, baby elephants suckle on their trunks for comfort. Like us, elephants are born with a strong suckling reflex, so they instinctively know what to do when they're near their mother's breast. The ostrich is both the world's tallest and heaviest bird. A female ostrich can grow up to 6 feet tall and weigh over 200 pounds, while the males can reach 9 feet and weigh around 280 pounds. The mantis shrimp can throw a punch that travels around 50 miles per hour, making it one of the fastest limb movements in the animal kingdom. What's even more impressive is that water is much denser than air, but the shrimp still reaches this speed despite the drag. A grizzly bear's bite is strong enough to crush a bowling ball. This can sometimes happen when the bear fails to convert a 7/10 split. Hey, it's hard. Cats can't taste sugar, as they don't need to because of their meat-based diet. They are one of the few animals on the planet that can't taste sweet things. The horn on a narwhal's head is actually a giant tooth that has up to 10 million nerve endings inside. The spiral tusk juts out from its head and can grow to an insane 10 feet long. Female bats give birth while hanging upside down and catch the baby in their wings as it drops. Happy birthday! Whoops, gotcha! Chickens are the closest living descendants of the T-Rex. Scientists compared 68-million-year-old T-Rex DNA with that of 21 modern species and found chickens to be the closest match. Like parrots, starlings can talk too. They can mimic everything from human speech to other animals and even car alarms. Female turkeys can reproduce without needing a male. When there's no male around, they can still produce a fertile egg. The aptly named colossal squid can grow up to almost 50 feet, which is around the same size as the average city bus. The largest colossal squids are usually female, like many other huge species. Kiwi birds are almost completely blind, and to compensate for that, they use their sense of smell, touch, and taste for survival and to forage for food. Bats are the only mammals that can truly fly. They digest their food extremely quickly, often within 30 to 60 minutes, to keep their weight down and be able to fly. Other animals, like the flying squirrel, may appear to fly, but they're actually just gliding, or falling with style. No two tigers have the same pattern of stripes. Like human fingerprints, tiger stripes are completely unique. Sloths can't shiver to heat themselves when they get cold, as the little guys only have a muscle mass of 25%. Most other mammals have double that. Dogs are capable of dreaming, and if you have a dog, it's likely dreaming of you. Research suggests that dogs, like humans, draw on their everyday experiences when they dream. My dog Riley sometimes barks when he's dreaming. How about yours? Octopuses often make gardens for themselves. They collect stones, shells, and other objects and arrange them in the sand. Like many animals, red pandas use their tail for balance as they cross tree branches. But in the winter months, they also use it as a blanket, wrapping it around themselves to keep warm.